Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse The Suicide Squad Gold Label Walmart exclusive King Shark. This is the Megafig version. King Shark is the Build-A-Figure if you buy all 4 of the Suicide Squad figures. But this, if you don't want to be up the wave, you can get the figure in one fell swoop here. This is a Walmart exclusive. He runs about $40. The shorts are different from the regular version. Originally, they did show this guy to have blood all over his hands and mouth, but it looks like that got nixed. He does come with a display stand, a collector's card, and then 2 separate limbs. So let's check out the packaging here. As you can see at the top, this is a gold label exclusive, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse King Shark from the Suicide Squad. It's a big, huge package. At the top says The Suicide Squad. One side says King Shark from the Suicide Squad. Other side simply says King Shark. At the bottom, there's a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode in case that helps anybody. And on the back side, here's King Shark posed up, and here are the rest of the Suicide Squad figures. So with no further ado, let's get this guy open. Alright. Now they got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He does come with a collector's card and has its own holder. He also got the display stand and then 2 separate limbs. They're both bloody and in camo fatigues. But before we take a look at the accessories, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is the variant of King Shark, the gold label Walmart exclusive. The only real difference is his shorts are painted differently. These are actually the way I recall the shorts being painted in the film. King Shark is voiced by Sylvester Stallone. He's some sort of an offspring of a shark god and a human. He's kind of like a little demigod here. In the film, he seemed to be almost invincible. Pretty dumb, though. So let's take a look at him. I'll tell you, just looking at his head, McFarlane killed it with this guy. It is pretty nice. They gave us the option to buy the Megafig here or do the Build-A-Figure. Some people didn't want to buy all 4 of those figures, so it's nice to have that option. So looking at his face, eyes black, little nostrils at the front here. The pink really pops on his gums. You see his gills in the back. Different sort of paint layers, texturing and weathering, very nicely done. His jaw is articulated, he can open up. 2 sets of teeth at the bottom, just like a shark would have. At the top, just 1, because you can't see it very often. His tongue even has different texturing on it. You see the front of his nose. Just a ton of detail on this guy. Now originally, he was pictured to have blood all over his mouth, but I guess Walmart didn't want to have blood on him, so he's a little bit less of a variant than I would have liked. Definitely disappointed they took that off. Mine seems to have extra paint missing here. Single jointed elbows. Look at those hands. The webbing looks fantastic. You see the shorts. There's texturing on top of them. It's not just one solid sculpt. Overall, this guy is an amazing figure. He looks absolutely fantastic. I know a lot of people really like King Shark in the film, and the figure definitely does him justice. And then, just a closer look at his face. A lot of detail. The sculpt is just beautiful in this guy. Do you agree with me? Drop me a line in the comments below. I think McFarlane just killed it with this guy. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand, typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, says DC at the bottom, 1 peg for the peg holes on his feet, very thin, very basic. So his display stand came in 2 pieces, and I thought that was very interesting. We've never seen a holder like this before, and King Shark is not the first Megafig McFarlane has made. They've made Darkseid and Steppenwolf, and they just came with the standard card. I thought it'd be kind of cool if all the Megafigs came with a little holder like this, but I really don't know why King Shark came with it. It is cool, but odd to start with him. He also comes with this collector's card here, silver in the background. Can you see King Shark on the front there? King Shark from Suicide Squad on the back. A little description, if you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. And once you put the card into the holder, simply slides in, looks like this. DC at the bottom, kind of hollow in the back. Pretty cool little feature there. Now let's look at his severed limb accessories. These are in military fatigues. You can see it's got the bloody ripped off part here. Absolutely zero articulation, which, I mean, honestly, you don't need it in a severed limb. It's not going to be moving around. And here's the leg. Some cargo pocket there. Black boots. Kind of ripped pants at the bottom. Once again, the bloody sort of stump area. So I don't know how I can go over these accessories without asking the question, what the hell is wrong with Warner Brothers? You ban all your companies from including guns with DC figures, but it's okay to include severed limbs with bloody stump areas? I mean, come on now. These are intended to go into King Shark's mouth, bloodied severed limbs, but you can't give Bloodsport or Peacemaker a gun? Mezco can make a Joker with 15 different knives and torturing devices, a bloody apron, but you can't give your figures guns? I mean, what is wrong with you guys? Oh, we can't have blood on King Shark's mouth, but it's okay to have stumps to go in there? It doesn't make any sense. In addition to that, he lacks the hand articulation to even be able to hold these limbs. This is the best you can do. Have him just sort of bounce on top of his hand like this. Well, I guess you could do something like this. Have the severed limb's hand sort of holding on to King Shark's finger. That way it sort of looks like he's holding it. And you can kind of shove the leg in between his thumb and index finger. It kind of works. But it would be nice if he had at least a tiniest little bit of a grip to hold these things. Here's King Shark holding and getting ready to eat one of the limbs. Boy, it was a pain in the ass to get this thing to stay in his hand like this. And here he is, devouring both limbs. Now, this is not the first time in recent history we've gotten some severed limbs in our action figure collection. On the left here, we've got two, NECA, Pennywise, It, Georgie's hands, and then we have a Mattel Jurassic Park Dr. Arnold's arm. A bunch of severed limbs here. These would be great for King Shark or Killer Croc. And here's another good use for these limbs. They were great for your DC Direct, DC Zombie Batman, and your Robin Crows. Now to compare them with the Build-A-Figure release of King Shark, I wanted to see if there were any sculpting or any differences besides simply the shorts. Originally this variant was pictured with blood on him, and it looks like they got scrapped obviously. I've not seen a single person that actually got one with blood on it. So, the shorts are the exact same sculpt, but painted considerably differently, and I could be wrong, but that's what I felt like I saw in the film. Now, my variant here, he's got a lot of paint issues on sort of his chest. Kind of makes you wonder, is that where maybe some of the blood splatter was originally, or is it just coincidence? But my Build-A-Figure is a very clean paint job, and my other one has a lot of sort of rough areas here. I can't imagine it wasn't intentional to be like that all over the figure. I mean, you can see the differences big time. And beyond that, this King Shark can still be pulled apart. He doesn't fall apart by any means, but if you wanted to pull him apart, you could. Originally, I was thinking you could have the bloody mouth here, switch the head with the other one, but my dreams got crushed, whether it was by Walmart or McFarlane, who knows. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. And this guy's a big boy. From bottom to the top of his head, he's sitting at about 8.8 inches tall. Now when I measured the other King Shark, he's about 8.6. They are the exact same figure, but depending on how you have his torso, he could be considerably shorter in certain positions. Also, his head can look up. From the tallest point like that, he can sit at about 9.2 or 3 inches tall. Now let's check out his articulation. Start with his head here. It's on kind of a ball joint behind here, done in a pretty unique style. So it can rotate around like so. He can look up and down pretty significantly. Can go from side to side. Pretty good range of motion with his head here overall. His mouth is also articulated. It can open up. I love that. Put all kind of limbs in there. Chomping. Shoulder on a ball joint. Goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around. All the good stuff. No bicep cut. Single jointed elbows. Going a little bit less than 90 degrees. And they are going to have rotation. His wrists rotate. And it's going to be hinged. Goes back pretty far too, as you can see. Ball joint his torso, rotate around, go forward and back, and do be careful. I feel like the top part here is sort of scraping against here. Bottom part is a ball joint his waist as well, rotate around, go forward and back. Pretty impressive range of motion his torso, but as you sort of pull them apart, you can have some gaps that look bad. Now his legs here, you can't get much out of them. They can go out this far, but they just snap sort of back into place because of the shorts. Forward and back, not much. There is knee articulation that you really could absolutely not use. Then his ankle here goes that far down, up about that far, and he's got toe articulation in addition. Now King Shark here does come complete with every bit of articulation that you'd expect from a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. If you look inside of here, the legs, they would go outward pretty far. They would go forward and back considerably further, but the shorts prohibit that. Now, like I said before, he does have knee articulation. Really, really hard to see. You can see that peg in there. But you literally cannot do it because the shorts are in the way at all. So think about that. Without the body attached, it can go out pretty far, but they do keep snapping back, forward and back, knee articulation. The shorts kind of ruin all of that. I would love to see what some people are going to do. Maybe replace these shorts with some cloth soft goods shorts. That would be difficult, as you'd have to have some sort of frame here. I've also seen some people online cut it sort of in here, and it gave it a huge range of motion. I'd just be worried about messing it up and making it look bad. Here are the two King Sharks giving each other a high five. Here's King Shark, just chilling in the sewer, eating on some limbs. Here's King Shark saying hand. And Amanda Waller, yes, that is your hand. Very good. Here's Rick Flag on the walkie, asking the rest of the team, what's everyone got? And then King Shark is on the walkie, and somebody says, bird. And Rick Flag's like, get off the walkie! Here's King Shark and the team of figures from the Suicide Squad. So far, McFarlane has given us these 5 figures. There has been no announcement or any tease about any further figures, but there's about 16 more characters they can make from this film. I really hope they trickle a few more out at least. Now let's check them out. Next is some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures, and don't worry, we will check them out next to the Mattel Build-A-Figure King Shark here shortly. Here's this Walmart gold label Megafig King Shark on the left, next to the Build-A-Figure King Shark on the right. Here he is, next to the other Suicide Squad variant that I have. This is Unmasked Bloodsport. He's also a Walmart exclusive, just like this King Shark. I'm still waiting on Target to ship my Unmasked Peacemaker, and then I'll have the entire collection. And here he is, next to the rest of the regular figures from the Build-A-Figure Suicide Squad wave. Then, next to the entire The Suicide Squad collection that I have, the only one I need to get is the Unmasked Peacemaker. Here he is, next to all the different McFarlane Zack Snyder's Justice League figures that I have. I'm really hoping to complete this collection soon. Zack Snyder's Justice League exists in the same DC cinematic universe as the Suicide Squad, so you can see these characters interacting. And I would love to see these two characters interact in the DC cinematic universe, but I doubt that'll ever actually happen. And then, next to the Wonder Woman 1984 wave, these figures are also from the same cinematic universe. Here he is, next to Arrow. Arrow is the only McFarlane DC Multiverse figure that's live action and is not from the DC Cinematic Universe. Here are all the Megafigs McFarlane has made so far. We've got Steppenwolf and Darkseid from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then King Shark here from the Suicide Squad. Rumor is there's an upcoming Target Megafig Bane. There's also an upcoming Swamp Thing and variant. Really like these Megafigs. Hope they continue pushing them out. Here he is, next to all the different Build-A-Figures McFarlane has made. This King Shark is a Megafig, meaning he's pretty much the same as a Build-A-Figure, but he's sold all together at one time for $40. We've got Last Night on Earth Bane, the Suicide Squad King Shark, Dark Knight's Metal Merciless, and then Death Metal Darkfather. Rumor is the next Build-A-Figure wave is going to be a Dark Knight Returns themed, presumably with the Mutant Leader as the Build-A-Figure. And then, next to a bunch of other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Now let's check them out, next to some other King Shark and Shark-type figures. Here he is, next to the Mattel DC Multiverse Build-A-Figure King Shark. This King Shark is from the Flash TV show, CW's Arrowverse. He clocks just a hair taller than the McFarlane King Shark. And I'll tell you, this is one of the best of DC Universe Classics and Multiverse from Mattel. One of an excellent figure here. And here are all versions of King Shark, both variants from McFarlane and both variants from Mattel. Which King Shark is your favorite? Drop me a line in the comments below. I think I prefer the Mattel Build-A-Figure King Shark as a little more realistic looking. Don't get me wrong, the McFarlane King Shark is excellent and it's a great portrayal from the film. Great figure. But I think I prefer my King Shark to look like this Mattel figure. Looks a little more comic oriented. Then, next to a DC Direct Shark figure, I believe this guy to be a Green Lantern villain. And here, next to a Mattel DC Universe Classics Shark, this is another DC villain. Then, next to a custom Shark figure, Shark is a member of the Terrible Trio. They're a Batman villain gang. And here's the rest of the Terrible Trio, the Shark, the Fox, and the Vulture. Here he is, next to a custom Great White Shark. The Great White Shark is a modern day Bat villain. Then, next to a random Shark toy. Speaking of random Shark toys, NECA allegedly is still making their Bruce. That's the shark from the Jaws film. That thing looked to be about 2 feet long. Haven't heard news about that for a while, so I'm hoping it's still coming out. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. Here he is, next to some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next is more McFarlane Toys. These are from different various video game properties. And now, here he is, next to some Jakks Pacific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST, or Diamond Select Toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, next to some Megafig figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, this is a great figure. King Shark was a lot of fun in the film. He was funny, he looked cool, the figure also looks very cool. The detail's fantastic on this guy. Now his articulation could be a little better. I would love double jointed elbows and double jointed knees, or knees that would at least function somehow. His shorts were not executed very well, could have done a lot better. They look really good, but it hinders every lick of movement in his sort of thigh area. Also disappointed about the paint job. He was originally supposed to have blood around his mouth, and I think some on maybe his hands or his body, and it looks like that was scrapped. I know right now violence with toys is sort of a touchy issue with Warner Brothers. Sigh. But that definitely brings this guy down a notch or two. So I rated the original King Shark a 9 out of 10. He's probably settled down to more of an 8.5 at this point. The initial, oh wow, he's so cool, is kind of worn off. Still a great figure, but I'm going to rate this guy an 8 out of 10. He's going to lose some points for missing the blood. He does come with some accessories, which is more than the Build-A-Figure King Shark came with. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.